Meetings in the COVID era and beyond. Jeff, Wouters, my colleague, myself, Rex the Koning. Not that one. First of all, of course, a big thanks to our sponsors. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So, of course, Microsoft and the rest of the Platinum sponsors and the Gold sponsors. So, just a little about me. Rex the Koning, lead engineer at a company called Wouters. I've been in IT for 25-ish years. Started as a developer, did some system maintenance, network administration, got into automation, PowerShell, Azure. Became an MCT, and now I'm standing here. And then we have my colleague, Jeff.
So, my name is Jeff Wouters. I'm the founder of the company, Wouters. So technically I'm his boss. I'm a 9 years MVP, I'm an MCT. And I do a lot of PowerShell, Azure DevOps, infrastructure as code, stuff like that. Oh yeah, and a small detail, I'm 1/16 Scottish. That's why the red beard is...
All right, so COVID, as we all know, it started in 2019. Some of you might have been here in February 2020 with the Scottish Summit. We were, and right after we got back, basically everything went in lockdown, and we needed to change our interactions with colleagues, with customers, with everybody, because you were in your office at home and you didn't see people anymore. And we need to see how we're going to do that, how we're going to cope with it. And within our company, we came up with a couple of solutions to handle that. It might be different in your company, but we'll see.
Yeah, one of our particular problems was that we had an employee that joined our company, and he used to work for about 10 years at a company that couldn't do remote. They only had a isolated network. So he joined our company, and then COVID hit. So he went to the office all day for 10 years long, and then he couldn't anymore. So he got a little bit of isolation in there, and it wasn't so good. So also that as a trigger made us do some creative things to make sure that our employees didn't get isolated.
Yeah.
How do people interact? So most of the times these days they write, either through email, WhatsApp, Telegram, email already, but also verbally. So that's what I like most. Because if you do it verbally, 9 out of 10 times you also, not only by phone, but you see the other person. And non-verbal communication can be very important. That's also why I don't like virtual trainings, by the way, because if everybody disables their webcam, I can't see anything and I'm just talking to a screen. That's, for me as a speaker, that's very boring. So one thing on how people interact these days is they listen to reply. So first you should listen, understand what the other person is saying, and then form your reply in that order. And even I myself have a tendency to listen. In my head, I already fill in the gaps of what they're about to say, and then I start creating my reply. And technically, that's very, very wrong. So that's something I actively try to teach myself not to do. Listen to what people are saying, validate their experiences, their feelings about it, and then start formulating a reply if needed. Sometimes that's one of our employees. When he calls me, it is either to complain just about complaining, or he complains, please help me fix it. And that's a very different call. Out of myself, when you start complaining to me, I want to fix it. I'm a typical guy. So in his case, I had to learn to take a step back. Hey, what kind of call is this? I ask him, are you just complaining or do you want me to fix it?
Okay, so within our company, We did several ways of trying to fix those problems we ran into. We put them into the snake here. So we're going to start here at the bottom, once upon a call. So basically what we do is just plain and simple. If you want to talk to a colleague, haven't seen him in a while, pick up your phone, make a phone call, and just talk. And it doesn't need to be work. Just socialize, talk to people, what's going on. Do you miss anything? Do you need anything? What do you need from us? Because that's also important, of course. You need to help them in any way to further their progress. And just a simple call. When you're in a car, just pick up the phone. Well, not pick it up. Use your hands-free set, of course. We're all doing it the correct way. And just socialize and get feeling of how they're doing, and not only on work, but also mentally. That's really important at the moment. Because if you're alone, yeah, you're just locked up. Well, not locked up anymore, but you're alone in your room. You don't see physical people. It's different. So yeah, make a call and just check in with people.
Yeah, and even if that's a colleague where you haven't talked to him or her before, and you're like, yeah, I don't know, it feels a little bit scary to call him. Just call him once, and that's what I did with one of my employees. Apparently, his daughter is a huge fan of BTS. It's like Korean pop. It's a whole culture thing. So apparently, he brought his daughter to a concert in Amsterdam of BTS, and they were there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the concert started at 8 in the evening. So apparently, that he wasn't the only one. He was pretty much the only parent, but so what I found out that yes, his daughter really likes BTS, but he kind of does too. Also something we introduced was the online or even physical gathering. In other words, on a Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesdays nowadays, yeah.
Tuesday evening, once a month, we have a call where everybody can join. It's your free time, so hey, it's up to you. And then we just talk about, hey, Rex maybe started a new job at a customer, a new project. So, hey, what is that about? Are there any lessons learned from your previous project? Just ask people how they are doing. Yeah, every now and then you find out cool stuff. One of the colleagues started becoming active in politics. And it took about a few hundred votes, or he would have become an active role in the local government. Fun to learn.
Yeah, another thing we did is something, we call it open social. And what it basically is, just start a team session, a Zoom session, whatever you use within your company, and just keep it online all the day through. You can mute your mic, of course, or turn off your camera sometimes, but it gives you a feeling of being together with your colleagues, be able to just shout out some things and get a reply if needed. And it makes you feel closer together, even though you're apart. And another thing you can do is just create a Spotify list, for example. So you all listen to the same music to get a single feeling, to really work within a company, within your team, and be close to each other, even though you're miles or continents apart. And well, for us it works, and it's just great to keep it going and just go back and forth with each other. What's the English word? Sparring, sparring, I think. Collaborate, yeah. And it's really stupid because it's just there. You do your job, and it could be on a separate monitor, separate sound set. But you just get a feeling you're not alone. There are people you can reach out to with it. Just call out the name, and they're there, and it works great.
And in case that you are at a customer, you can't have an active webcam session. What we do is we create a calendar appointment for all day, but set to not active, so not busy. So it doesn't block your calendar, but everybody or every one of us has their company Teams open. And the moment I join the open social, everybody gets a pop-up, hey, Jeff is going to the open social. And if Patrick says, hey, I've got time, looks like fun, click, he joins. We use WhatsApp. And if Patrick says, hey, I've got a PowerShell question, Jeff, can you join? And if I've got time, Sure, I'll join in the open social. And chances are that there's a third colleague that's like, sounds like fun. He joins also.
Yeah, and then, well, of course, Teams is mentioned again. Yeah, we all will work with the Microsoft stuff, so we use Teams. And yeah, we use it also for connecting to our customers, of course. So not only to the colleagues, but get on a call with your customer, with your clients, they all have the same problems, and they probably just want to join in and get, especially if you're in a team at a partner or as a client, get them to join a team. I was at a company, and they did stand-ups in the morning just by using a phone call. So nobody could see each other. They just called and did a stand-up, and it worked, but it was not great. So I introduced them, well, just set up a team session. We all have those screens. Even if people are in the office, they have screens with services, with everything that's needed to work together. And they made it mandatory to start with, just to get everybody on there. And well, I've left that client now for half a year, but they're still doing it this way. And for them, it was a great way also to get, because the team was spread out all over the Netherlands. They didn't see each other for over a year at that time. So they finally could see each other again and see people for the first time, just not hearing their voice and really seeing them. And it really brought the team together and working even better.
Yeah, and one of the biggest advices I can give you is ask people. Ask people, for example, what you're doing. How are you today? How's things going with your daughter? You told me that she's cramming for an exam. Did she pass? Just a social interaction. And this is a beautiful example where my wife and I are complete opposites. My wife, as lovely as she is, of course, she is very bad in maintaining relationships with friends, etc. It's not because she doesn't care, but she's just bad at it. And sometimes it goes for weeks that she doesn't contact her best friend. I'm the opposite. I actively start contacting people. So every now and then I remind her, hey, have you called Sandra last month? Oh shit, and then she needs to, can I say the S word? I just did, surprise.
Well, I just learned in England you can say shite, that's a normal word to use. So.
Oh, great. Good for next time. So be interested in your colleagues, even if you're not. One former employee, I gave the advice, pretend to be. And surprise, surprise, people started calling him. Hey, how are you doing? Especially for him, during to her home situation, he got a little bit of isolation in there. That was kind of becoming a problem. But because he actively started asking other people, how are you doing? They did the same to him. So sometimes it's a little bit you have to give to get.
Yeah, and another very important, well, at least for me, a very important thing is keep your routine. For example, I don't have the same dog, but I do have a couple of dogs. So every morning I just get up, I take a shower, then get your clothes on, of course, and then I'll just go for a walk with the dog like I would normally do before going into the office. So even if you're working from home, keep your schedule, keep your rhythm, do the same things. So I go for a walk with my dog. I know people that were used to driving to work, they don't have that anymore. They just go out for a walk in the morning, and then when they come back, they open the door and go to their office, just like they commute into their home office, basically. But just to get a feeling, to get away from it. Same when they're done with the day, they go out for a walk around the block, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but then there's a feeling of coming home. And it's so important to keep that rhythm, just to keep the flow going, because if you don't, you tend to, well, not waste away, but yeah, your rhythm changes, your work ethic changes, and that will make you start real miserable at a moment in time. So keep your rhythm, keep keep your routines, and it will really help you stay mentally healthy.
For me personally, pre-COVID, every morning I woke up at 6-ish. I got in my car, drove to the customer, and during that drive, I put on some music, really loud, start singing or screaming along with the music. Or am I the only one that does that? Ah, great. And that was my wake-up time. So by the time at 7-ish I get to the customer, I'm awake. And I can actively, pretty much 100%, I can start working. Well, then COVID came along, and I couldn't drive anymore. So I woke up, I do the morning stuff, I go to my laptop, start working, and I noticed that at around 11 o'clock-ish, I was at 100%. So it took me a really long time to boot up. As in me as a person, not the computer. Then, after a few weeks, I started waking up at 6 o'clock again. I got in my car, and I just drove around with my music on, got back home, parked my car, and I could go 100% again, no problem. I'm not doing that anymore. I found different ways. You basically put on a headset and again, loud music. I'm not singing along because my wife hates that. But yeah, whatever makes you, try to find a way to make that so. And 9 out of 10 times there's a technical solution for that. Or a practical one, get in your car, just drive around.
Or get a dog, that's always good.
Yeah, we tried that, didn't work. So yeah, how do people interact? Again, talk about more than work. In general, if you are working in an IT company, especially we hire the nut jobs. We hire the people that are passionate about that job. So what do they talk about? Well, surprise, their job. But there's more in life. So essentially, don't live to work, work to live. Yeah. So again, the colleague with BTS, we talked about him also, but we talked to him. Apparently he is a whiskey lover, I am too. So that's something we have in common. Underneath this speaker shirt, there's a shirt of Gabriel Iglesias. It's an American comedian, Fluffy. Apparently Rex and I were there. We look in the row behind us, and there's one of our colleagues, apparently. We had no idea. Yeah, so try to find more in common than just your work. Yeah. I do have to say that work initially is a great place to start, and from there you get more information.
Yeah, and when you start learning, basically knowing your colleagues, your peers, 9 out of 10, of course, there's also always people you don't have matches with, but 9 out of 10 times you always find something that you can relate to or have the same or can talk about. And it really helps, and also for, well, going back to work, for working together, but also to make it more fun and do things around work.
Or completely the opposite, BTS, Korean pop. It does nothing for me. I think it's boring. But I asked my colleague, hey, educate me. What is it? Can you give me examples? Tell me about this culture. Apparently there are 3 major producers there. And there was another one that stepped out of the producing stuff of the 2 bigger companies, and he started BTS, which apparently became the Korean pop sensation. So details like that, yeah, inform me. And then I can use stuff like this over here. But whatever you do, keep things professional. And please, people, put on trousers. Put on pants. If you are on a webcam, yeah, there are certain things I don't want to see, ever.
And we all seen the movies of people in jackets behind the webcam, and then they zoom out and they're in the, let's hope they were shorts, or don't do that.
Yeah.
And also for your keep your routine. Can we see the next one, please? Keep your clothes on. It's really important.
Yeah. What I don't want to see is something like, boom, there it is. But don't do that. And also, with your verbal communication, keep things professional. I do have to say, we have a certain interaction that's kind of within the company. To the extent we have, it's uniquely to us.
Yeah, but we do a lot outside of the company because
But
keep things professionally.
There's certain things that I can gladly say to him, but I would never ever say to one of my other employees. So keep things professional, or at least read the room.
You, me. So basically, we have gone through. We don't have a very long talk, so we're basically at the summary now. So what it all comes down to: facilitate contact. Just keep in contact with each other. Reach out, get help if needed, because that's the most important thing. Just don't go withering away in your room, thinking I'm alone, nobody can help me. There's nobody there. Reach out, and it's difficult. Especially when you're having some kind of mental issues. I know it's difficult to reach out, but probably we all have the same idea. We all have some kind of issues because we're locked up, we're in a room, we're alone. So reach out to people, contact, and otherwise if you got the feeling that a colleague is having problems, contact that colleague. Get them online, get them to talk. Nowadays, luckily, we can meet up again. So just drive over, take them out for a lunch, I don't know. But get together and be happy, basically.
Yeah, and in the Dutch law there's a thing called good employeeship and good employership, and it's both. It's never just one, or it should never be just one. So also as an employer, you have I think a responsibility to keep an eye on the mental health of your employees, especially in these times. Don't allow them to be isolated. And being alone and being lonely are two very different things. Yeah, and also that's something I always say. On the one side you have an employer, on the other side you have one or multiple employees. I always say it should be a symbiosis. So one enhances the other. So essentially 1 + 1 = 3. The summary is more, no sorry, the result is more than the summary of its parts. That's how all relationships should be. So also a relationship between employee and employer. If that for some reason goes terribly wrong, you're probably in the wrong spot. And that's not my hint to leave your employer, but maybe talk to them, fix it. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so basically this was it for us. We thought the sessions would be shorter, so we didn't have that much content. But we do want to thank you for being here, and I just hope you have a lot of fun this last day of the summit. And again, if we can get the next slide, please.
Yep.
Thank our sponsors. They're in the expo, walk by them. Please talk to them, because without them, none of this would be possible. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and both have the sponsors, but also other sessions at the event. They talk about technical solutions for fixing the isolation problem, of fixing the collaboration problem. So also keep an eye on those. Thank you.
Thank you very much.